sure you've seen this. I'm sure you've seen this. Because it's not a brand new video. So it says Kyle Kalinske says the bar has been lowered so much that Biden looks like an absolute hero. It's about 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Unbelievable.
Does not have a high approval rating. Biden has not been doing based shit much recently. There was a time where I think he went on a good streak and got some good legislation passed, but recently it's been a lot more lazy. You know, you no longer have Ron Klain, who was certainly a more progressive chief of staff. Now you got this goon who's running the show. And it's clear, it shows in the action. So Biden's not doing a bang-up job here. But at the same time, the bar has now been lowered so much that he looks like an absolute hero compared to what's going on in the Republican Party. They're sort of with crazy ideas politically.
A hero. Let it finish.
Far-right ideas when it comes to abortion. And this, I mean, just they left the lane wide open for Biden to just dribble on in and make the world's easiest layup. So Biden and his team, they cut this ad. Watch. Look, it's a good ad. The normies are going to drool over themselves over that ad. There's no doubt. They're not. Now, under Obama, they had a supermajority, and they could have and should have codified Roe versus Wade back then, but they didn't. And now here we are.
How is he not a normie now? He's saying the normies are going to love it. It seems like you love it pretty much. You saying the bar now, he looks like a hero. The bar, Nick, the bar could be underground. There is no way that Joe Biden qualifies as being a hero. Nothing he's doing is qualifying as being a hero. As much as you want people to believe, it's so schizophrenic. We saw it in the Krystal video, Nick. They're having to walk this line where they have to, at a certain audience, they have to talk about Biden like he's doing good, and then at the same time talk to a different audience like Biden is doing terrible. Vote for Marianne Williamson audience, they have to act like she's doing terrible. And then for the audience of, hey, don't support Cornel West, support the Democrats, they got to act like he's great. And they're doing this. They're doing this literally in same video, in videos in the same week. They're talking about Biden in different ways in order to push this. This is called a grift. Go ahead, Nick.
So that's another shocking video. So Joe Biden is a hero when you compare him to the Republican Party. So let's think about what Joe Biden has done, CJ. So these are the heroic actions of Joe Biden. And I want to ask someone like Calhoun, what is what the Republican Party doing so bad that makes someone who bombed the Nord Stream pipeline, one of the largest ecological disasters in human history, fam? Joe Biden is the biggest eco-terrorist in human history. It is not a stretch to say that. But he's a hero? I thought you believed in the climate crisis, Kyle. Didn't he expand the Willow Project? So you guys see why these people actually delegitimize the climate movement, and this is why a lot of people turn against it, because even they don't believe their shit. You want us to stop using plastic straws? You want us to go vegan, but you don't even believe your shit? You call the guy who is the biggest eco-terrorist in human history the hero. The guy who is funding Nazis to the tune of $200 billion. The guy who is escalating in China, sending weapons to Taiwan government, who committed a genocide in Yemen, which the Chinese Communist Party stopped, by the way. The genocide in Yemen was not stopped by Bernie Sanders. It wasn't stopped by Joe Biden. It was stopped by Xi Jinping when he promoted peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia. And now they got a mutual agreement. They're now part of BRICS as well. So Joe Biden was funding that genocide, but he's a hero, according to Kyle Kalinske. The guy who's funding ICE $6 billion more than Donald Trump is a hero, according to the white moderate Kyle Kalinske. Read letter from a Birmingham jail from MLK. Kyle Kalinske is calling a psychopathic, warmongering police state criminal a hero. Do you guys see how it's not just small disagreements? These people are willing and active agents of the working class. Joe Biden is a strike breaker. Joe Biden gave federal contracts to union busters, like Amazon, for example. Kyle Kalinske called a union busting president a hero.
Yeah.
Will you guys understand that this is not left infighting what we're doing here? When we break down Krystal and Kyle, it is literally no different than we do a video on Joe Scarborough. If we was to do a video on Joy Ann Reid, they literally do the same fucking thing. They just do it and they think they were more hip and cool because they may curse on the stream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kyle, you may see Kyle his vape. Oh man, Kyle his vape. He's a little edgy. He's edgy. They are disgusting people, man. How will you feel? And this is how I ended my last thought. When people think I go too hard on them, if you think I go too hard on them for endorsing Joe Biden, imagine the heat that we would get. Imagine the heat that Jimmy Dore would get. Imagine the heat that Harlan's Media or anyone would get if we endorse Donald Trump enthusiastically. You like, Nick, what are you talking about? Joe Biden funded ICE $6 billion more than Trump. Joe Biden funded police more than Trump. You know that you guys remember when people said Donald Trump is going to lead us to World War III and literally pull us away from allies? That is what Joe Biden did. Everything that Donald Trump did, Joe Biden doubled down on. So this is why I got heat for these motherfuckers, because I view you as the same way as I would view a Trump supporter. As the same way you would view a Trump supporter, because you're supporting the same policies. But man, seeing the rest of that, and then especially Kyle's like, man, how does that not infuriate people, man? Are we going to allow these people to hijack what it means to be on the left? People are embarrassed to call themselves leftists, CJ. Why do you think people are embarrassed to call themselves leftists? Oh no, I don't like labels. I don't do labels. People do say that shit because they don't want to be associated with these clowns, and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
When we had Misty on, Comrade Misty, and we had other people on there, like, man, I don't blame them at all, because who the fuck want to be associated with these cowards, these spineless, feckless beta cucks? Which is why I'm calling them out, because I'm not allowing them to hijack what it means to be a socialist, what it means to be the traditional leftist, taken from the French Revolution. That's when the earliest recorded use of the term left, meaning, do you support the French Revolution? Meaning, do you support change, or do you support the status quo? If you're on the left, you support more progressive revolutionary change. When on the right, you support more of the establishment traditions. That's traditionally what it means. So as someone who want to change this rotten, corrupt, warmongering system, I am a revolutionary leftist. These scumbags are not. And that was, I give props to Glenn, because he said that on the show as well. He's like, guys, I know you guys don't like leftists because Glenn got a lot of right wingers, but he's like, dude, if you look at RBN, these are what the true traditional leftists are. So as someone who considers himself a true traditional leftist, I am willing to call out these frauds the same way Lenin did, the same way Malcolm X did. Malcolm X had a lot of tension with MLK and a lot of people in the civil rights movement, because leftists call out people who are trying to perpetrate fraud and water down our movement. I said I wasn't gonna do another rant.
Well, I got a small rant, and that is this. We have to ask, Nick, because just like you're very analytical, you're very, scientific. We have to ask, well, what is the motivation for Krystal Ball and Breaking Points to do this? Like, what is behind this sort of shift? Like, what is the purpose in this shift? Because they're not getting money, the 20 million, like TYT. It's not their audience, because we saw their audience reaction. It is completely opposite. It's not for the sake of their audience. So what are they doing this for? If it's not the establishment, they are making, in their mind, a money play to stay in the good graces of the establishment. They want to be the future. People are cutting the cord and going to streaming. They want to be the mainstream. This is why they bought on Chris Matthews. You think they can be pushing Cornel West and talking about building outside of red and blue, and then Chris Matthews is going to come on No, that's not going to happen. So all they're doing is trying to cultivate a space where they can be considered independent because they're on YouTube. I'm independent. They're just taking the audience that watches mainstream and bringing them over to the internet, Nick. That's all they're doing. And they say it all the time. We want to be the new mainstream left. That's what they want, new mainstream. That's what they want. And that's exactly what they're going for. And you can see it because, and I've said this before, Krystal has has moved right since leaving Ryzen. How do you leave Ryzen, a corporate company who has shackles on you? Then you leave to say, I want to take these shackles off. The shackles are off, and you go right.
She became a sweet summer child again. I love that quote.
Exactly. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
I'll let you have the last word on that. Let's get to some super chat. Sabby is 100% right. Sabby always have great analysis on this. The people who pay breaking points. That's why Krystal don't care that she's getting roasted in the chat because she's like, I got premium subscribers, fam. We don't know who they are. Maybe I think that's the number one thing to answer your question, CJ. We don't know who they are, but they have to be people that are paying to see this red-blue split, right?
This is why RBN is so needed, because when your beliefs are grounded in a material need, like or a lack thereof, like our channel, where your beliefs and policy has a material, tangible outcome that would affect us, like a lot of policies we believe, we would directly be affected and they wouldn't. And it's so clear. That's why we don't pivot on beliefs. We have the same beliefs that we had a year ago. We've been saying we don't support the Democratic Party. We've been saying the same thing. It's not going to change. So, and we're seeing it. We're seeing this collapse, and it's a good thing, Nick. It's a good thing. Just think about the last 6 months, how much stuff we've been talking about, this whole progressive narrative, from the Nina Turner campaign, we gonna be all right, to the breaking of the rail strike. Just so many things, to voting for the Iron Dome, to voting for Ukraine funding, like to the protest of AOC. So many things we've had to cover because of these clowns are just exposing themselves, and we are here in this vacuum. And I'm so glad we're here, because if we weren't, there would not be an alternative narrative to say, hey guys, let's not do this nonsense anymore. We're so needed, man.
Thanks for the super chat. Krystal's brain rot is even worse than Kyle's. So, and that's why there are a lot of jokes that that Kyle was corrupted by Krystal, but they both make a great shit-lived team. I'll say that, because they both have been horrific. They've been horrific. So, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, I think they corrupted each other pretty well.
This video, to close us out, make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Everybody have a great rest of your day. And here is the outro video, Turncoat Dawn.
The former Soviet Union and other authoritarian dictatorial regimes.
We're really talking about other people being dictatorial. And Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, as bad as Biden is, you guys are significantly worse, and it's not even close. The Democrats are just way better. They're just way better. They're a trillion times better than Republicans. All right, so there's a lot I have to say in response to this. These kinds of criticisms from this guy, I honestly believe that these people usually overstate how bad Trump is, and they understate how bad Biden is. Well, you're more ideologically in agreement with Biden than you are in agreement with Trump. Well, actually, when it comes to the First Step Act, I agree with Trump on that. When it comes to pardoning Alice Johnson, I agree with Trump on that. When it comes to TPP, Trump's against it, Biden's for it. I agree with Trump on that. I agree more with Trump on North Korea than I agree with Biden. I would need to be convinced that Biden would fight for at least one or two of my top 5 issues. Medicare for all, free college, living wage, ending the wars, and UBI. The people who say Trump is a fascist and they think he's like, basically, we can't survive another 4 years of America with him. Yes. The country will survive 4 years with Trump. The country will survive 4 years with Joe Biden. Again, I think they understate how bad Biden is. Why? On so many core issues, he's against us. Me, at least. I can't speak for this guy. Joe Biden pushed for NAFTA. He repeatedly pushed for TPP. He's a supporter of the Iraq War. On all the pivotal issues of his time, he was wrong. So stop overstating how bad Trump is. The country's still going to exist in 4 years. And understating how bad Biden is. Because it's annoying. I just don't agree with the people who are like, he's a fascist, he's a Nazi, the country's not going to exist in 4 years. You're hyperbolic and you're ridiculous.
You got knocked the